My mother handed me a check for $42 at my sister's bridal shower and said, "This is from the family emergency fund we've been saving for you." I was 31 years old, sitting in a country club surrounded by her friends, watching her hand my younger sister Claire a manila envelope. Claire opened it to find a check for $38,000 toward her honeymoon. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just smiled, slipped that $42 check into my purse, and 3 hours later, I sent an email that ended 6 years of financial support worth $168,000. My name is Rachel Montgomery. I'm 31, a physical therapist at Riverside Rehabilitation Center just outside Seattle. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment in Redmond, drive a 12-year-old Honda Civic, and until recently, I sent my parents $2,300 every single month. For 6 years. Because that's what good daughters do when their parents need help, right? Growing up, I learned early that Claire was the investment and I was the safety net. When Claire was 16 and wanted to take a gap year in Europe before college, my parents pulled $7,000 from their retirement. When I was 16 and wanted to join the debate team, they said we couldn't afford the $250 fee. "Rachel's more of a behind-the-scenes person anyway," my mother explained to relatives. Code 4. Claire gets the spotlight, Rachel pays the bills. At 19, Claire went to a private liberal arts college. Tuition was $48,000 a year. My parents covered it all: student loans, co-signed credit cards, spring break trips to Cabo. When I graduated high school that same year with a full academic scholarship to UW, my mother's response was, "Well, that's convenient. Now we can focus on Claire's expenses." I worked 30 hours a week through college while maintaining a 3.9 GPA. Claire partied through a 2.4 and changed her major 3 times. When she finally graduated at 24, 2 years late, my parents threw her a celebration dinner at a steakhouse and gave her $5,000 to get started. When I graduated at 22 with honors and a job offer, they sent a congratulations text. No dinner. No gift. Just, "Proud of you." By the time I was 25, I had a solid career as a physical therapist, making $64,000 a year. Not wealthy, but stable. Claire, meanwhile, had bounced between retail jobs, yoga instructor training, and a brief stint selling essential oils. My parents continued funding her lifestyle: rent assistance, car payments, health insurance. And I stayed out of it. Until the day my father called me and changed everything. It was late October, around 7 in the evening. My father, David, rarely called unless it was serious. His voice was tight. "Your mother and I are in a bind. We're 3 months behind on the mortgage. The bank sent a notice. We could lose the house." He sounded genuinely scared. "I hate to ask, but could you help us catch up? Just until we get back on our feet." The amount was $6,800. 3 months of mortgage payments at $2,270 each, plus late fees. I looked at my savings, $12,000 I'd been building for a down payment on my own place someday. But this was my parents'. This was their home. The house I grew up in. I transferred the money that week. My father cried when he thanked me. "You saved us, Rachel. We'll pay you back as soon as we can." That was 6 years ago. I never saw that money again. What I didn't know then was that my father's bind wasn't a temporary crisis. It was the beginning of a pattern. Within 2 months, he called again. Utilities were overdue. Could I cover them? Just this once. $195. I sent it. Then car insurance. $340 a month. Then health insurance supplement. $425. Then groceries when money was tight. $350 a month. By month 4, I was sending almost $2,000 monthly. My father framed each request as temporary. "Business is slow this quarter. Medical bills are piling up. We're waiting on a settlement." There was always a reason. Always a promise to repay. Always gratitude that felt just sincere enough to make me believe next month would be different. Over 6 years, the monthly support added up. Mortgage, $2,270 per month. Utilities, $195. Car insurance, $340. Health supplement, $425. Groceries, $350. Cell phone, $85. Emergency fund, $300. Total, $4,965. Every single month. 72 months. $357,480 in recurring payments alone. Then there were the one-time emergencies. Dad's truck needed transmission work. $4,800. Mom's dental surgery. $6,200. Roof repairs after a storm. $11,000. Property taxes when they fell behind. $8,700. Claire's car down payment because she really needs reliable transportation. $7,200. Medical bills. Legal fees when Dad's business got sued. Appliance replacements. Security deposits when they downsized rentals. I kept a folder on my laptop called Family Support. Every Venmo, every Zelle, every check image, every text asking for help. $126,000 in one-time emergencies over 6 years. Combined total, $483,480. Nearly $500,000. From a physical therapist making $64,000 a year. I lived in a 475-square-foot studio, drove a car with 182,000 miles, ate ramen 4 nights a week, and hadn't taken a real vacation in 6 years. All while my parents kept promising, "We'll pay you back." I told myself I was being a good daughter. That family comes first. That they raised me, fed me, put a roof over my head for 18 years, and now it was my turn to give back. I told myself Claire needed more help because she was still figuring things out. That I was stronger, more capable, more financially responsible, so of course the burden fell on me. But deep down, in a place I didn't want to acknowledge, I knew the truth. I wasn't being noble. I was being used. And I let it happen because I didn't know how to stop. 3 months ago, Claire announced her engagement to Brandon, a software engineer she'd been dating for 11 months. My parents were thrilled. My mother immediately started planning a massive celebration, engagement party, bridal shower, rehearsal dinner, the works. The wedding itself was scheduled for next spring at a vineyard venue that cost $85,000 for the day. I was genuinely happy for Claire. Despite everything, she's my sister. I wanted her to be loved, to be celebrated. When my mother asked if I'd help host the bridal shower, I said yes. When she asked if I'd contribute financially, I hesitated but eventually agreed to cover the cake and decorations. $1,200. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was what my parents had been planning. The shower was held at Meadowbrook Country Club, a place my mother had joined 2 years earlier despite claiming they couldn't afford basic utilities. 70 women attended. Claire wore a white lace dress that cost more than my monthly rent. There were champagne towers, a dessert bar, live musicians, and personalized gift bags for every guest. About halfway through, my mother stood up to make a speech. She talked about Claire's journey, her creativity, her free spirit, how proud she was of the woman Claire had become. Everyone clapped. Claire cried happy tears. Then my mother pulled out 2 manila envelopes. She handed one to Claire. "Your father and I have been saving for this moment since you were born. We know weddings are expensive. We know starting a life together takes resources. So we want to give you both a head start." Claire opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $38,000. For your honeymoon in Italy. 3 weeks. First class. Everything covered. The room erupted in applause. Claire sobbed. My mother hugged her tightly. My father beamed from across the room. And then my mother turned to me. "Rachel, we haven't forgotten about you." She handed me the second envelope. Smaller. Thinner. I opened it carefully, aware that 70 pairs of eyes were watching me. Inside was a check for $42. I stared at it. $42. Not $4,200. Not $42,000. $42. My mother leaned in and whispered, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear, "This is from the family emergency fund we've been saving for you. We know you're more practical. You don't need big gestures. You've always been self-sufficient." Something inside me snapped. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just cleanly, like a thread pulled too tight finally breaking. I looked at that check. I looked at Claire's $38,000 check. I looked at my mother's expectant smile, waiting for me to graciously accept this insult disguised as a gift. I smiled. Thank you, Mom. This means a lot. I slipped the check into my purse, excused myself to the restroom, and locked myself in a stall. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just pulled out my phone and did the math I'd been avoiding for 6 years. $42. After $483,480 in support. After 6 years of every emergency landing on my shoulders while Claire got her dream funded. After countless promises of repayment. After being the responsible one, the dependable one, the one who didn't need big gestures. $42. I opened my banking app. I pulled up every recurring payment I had set up for my parents. Mortgage. Utilities. Insurance. Groceries. Phone. Emergency fund. $2,300 per month, scheduled to process in 4 days. I canceled every single one. Mortgage payment. $2,270. Status. Active. Edit. Cancel. Are you sure? Yes. Status. Canceled. Utilities. $195. Canceled. Car insurance. $340. Canceled. Health supplement. $425. Canceled. Groceries. $350. Canceled. Cell phone. $85. Canceled. Emergency fund. $300. Canceled. All of it. Gone. The silence in that bathroom stall felt like the first full breath I'd taken in 6 years. I walked back to the party. I smiled through the rest of the speeches. I hugged Claire and told her I was thrilled for her. I thanked my mother for the thoughtful gift. I drove home in my 12-year-old Honda, went straight to my laptop, and did what I should have done years ago. I opened that folder. Family support. 174 pages of documentation. Every payment. Every text. Every promise to repay. I exported it as a PDF. I titled it, Financial Documentation 2019 to 2025. Then I wrote an email. Subject, Termination of financial support and documentation. Recipients, my mother, my father, Claire, and 12 extended family members who'd witnessed years of this dynamic. The email was 3 paragraphs. Attached is complete documentation of $483,480 I have provided in financial support over the past 6 years. This includes 72 months of mortgage, utilities, insurance, groceries, and emergency funds totaling $357,480, plus $126,000 in one-time emergency loans that were never repaid. At Claire's bridal shower today, I received $42 from the Family Emergency Fund, while Claire received $38,000 for her honeymoon. This disparity makes it clear where I stand in this family's priorities. Effective immediately, all financial support is terminated. All recurring payments have been canceled. Do not contact me to negotiate, guilt, or explain. The numbers speak for themselves. I attached the PDF. I hovered over the send button for maybe 15 seconds. Then I clicked it. The fallout started within minutes. My mother called 11 times before I blocked her number. My father sent 17 text messages ranging from confused to angry to desperate. Claire sent a long message that started with, I had no idea, and ended with, but you're tearing this family apart. I didn't respond to any of them. I blocked my parents' numbers. I blocked Claire's number. I blocked extended family who started sending concerned messages. I changed my email password, updated all my security settings, and set my phone to do not disturb for anyone not in my immediate contacts. Then I did something I'd been dreaming about for 6 years. I booked a vacation. 2 weeks in Costa Rica. Flights, resort, excursions, everything. $4,800. I used the money I would have sent to my parents that month. For the first time in 6 years, I spent money on myself without guilt. I left 3 days later. I turned off my phone. I sat on a beach. I read 7 books. I went ziplining and scuba diving and ate meals that cost more than $42. I didn't think about mortgage payments or emergency funds or being the responsible one. I just existed. Free. When I came back, the consequences had started. The first mortgage payment bounced. $2,270 plus a $75 late fee. The bank sent a formal notice. My father tried to call my office. My supervisor, bless her, told him I was unavailable and couldn't be reached regarding personal matters. The second mortgage payment bounced. The bank began foreclosure proceedings. 30 days to cure the default or lose the house. My parents had $8,000 in savings. I found this out later, but refused to use it because that's for emergencies. Apparently, losing your house isn't an emergency if your daughter has been your emergency fund for 6 years. By month 3, utilities were disconnected. Car insurance lapsed, my father got pulled over, ticketed, and his car was impounded because he couldn't show proof of coverage. That cost him $1,200 in towing and storage fees plus the ticket. Claire's wedding was postponed. Brandon's parents had agreed to cover the venue, but when my parents' financial situation became clear, no house, no savings, mounting debt, Brandon's family quietly suggested eloping instead. Claire was devastated. My mother blamed me openly to relatives. Rachel abandoned us when we needed her most. By month 5, my parents lost the house. It sold at auction for $212,000. After the bank took what they were owed plus fees, my parents walked away with $14,200 from a house they'd owned for 28 years. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in a complex near the highway. $975 a month. My father, now 64, picked up evening shifts stocking shelves at a grocery store for $15 an hour. My mother, 61, got a part-time job at a call center for $14.50 an hour. Claire and Brandon did elope. Small ceremony, immediate family only. I wasn't invited. Claire sent a single text afterward, "I hope you're happy now." I didn't respond. Around month 6, my mother sent a handwritten letter to my apartment. 8 pages. She talked about sacrifices she'd made raising me. How ungrateful I was. How I destroyed the family over money. How I was punishing Claire for being loved. The letter never mentioned the $483,000. It never acknowledged a single payment. It never apologized. I read it once. Then I shredded it. My Aunt Diane, my mother's sister, reached out separately. She'd seen the email. She'd seen the PDF. I had no idea, she said. "I'm so sorry." She offered to mediate a family meeting. I declined. Some things can't be mediated. Some relationships can't be salvaged. Last month, almost 7 months after I stopped the payments, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Claire. "Mom and Dad are struggling. They need help. You have to know that." I responded, "They have $14,000 in savings. They have income. They have resources. What they don't have is me as a backup plan. That's not struggling. That's learning to budget." She didn't reply. 3 days ago, I closed on a condo. 2 bedrooms, updated kitchen, walking distance to work. Down payment, $42,000. Savings I'd accumulated in 7 months after stopping payments to my parents. The same amount Claire got for her honeymoon, I used to buy my own home. The irony isn't lost on me. My new place has a small balcony overlooking a park. I sit there in the mornings with coffee and watch people walk their dogs. I'm learning to cook real meals instead of ramen. I bought new furniture, not expensive, just mine. I joined a climbing gym. I'm dating someone I met at a friend's party, and when he asked me out to dinner, I said yes without calculating whether I could afford it. For the first time in 6 years, I'm building a life instead of funding someone else's. People ask me all the time if I feel guilty, if I regret cutting them off, if I think I went too far over $42. But it wasn't about $42. It was about 6 years of being treated like an ATM with a heartbeat. 6 years of temporary help that became permanent dependence. 6 years of watching my sister get every advantage while I got every responsibility. 6 years of promises to repay that never materialized. And then, after nearly $500,000, being handed $42 and told I was self-sufficient, while my sister got $38,000. That wasn't a gift. It was a message. And I finally heard it. I don't regret what I did. Not once. Because the only person who needed saving in that family was me. And I'm the only one who could do it. So was I wrong to cut them off over a $42 check? Or was I finally doing what I should have done 6 years ago when the first temporary payment turned permanent? What would you have done? Drop your story in the comments. And if you've ever been the family safety net while someone else got the safety deposit box, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. New stories every week. Sometimes the hardest thing to leave isn't a bad relationship. It's the role you've been playing in someone else's story.